Hello and welcome to another live demonstration. As part of the Back to Basics series, I want to show you the POSCA pens. Now, I've used POSCA pens in the past, but I've really only used the white. I use it because you can get such really nice fine lines from the white, and it's opaque, so it covers really well. Great for whiskers, great for those fine details on almost any surface. So I've used POSCA, like I said, and it's pretty much been the white. I hadn't really looked into the full range and its full potentials. So this is what I want to do with you today. So the POSCA pens, what are they? They're a water-based pigmented pen. So with them being pigmented means they're light fast, which is great in the art world. They're also very versatile. They'll go on pretty much any surface. So you've got glass, you've got wood, you've got fabric, you've got metal, you've got paper. So they have so many opportunities. They come in different nibs and different colours. Now, not all the colours are available in all the nibs, but there is a good range. There's 32 colours, and there's about 10 colours in at least two of the... Two nibs have all of the colours. The rest will have a mix of them. So there's 10 key colours in all the pens, but 32 colours in total. So you need to just choose the colours you want. When you've put it on fabric, you need to, or even plastic, iron just to seal, and porcelain and china you can bake just to give it that permanence. If you do it on glass, it can be washed off, the glass, but again, if you bake it or heat it, it will be then permanent. So permanent once dry, waterproof. It's great for outdoor work. If you are, really against the elements, a good layer of varnish will protect it even more. But other than that, they're a real stable pen. So what are they? Okay, let me get you a range. I won't get the white because you won't be able to see it. I'll give you what I'm looking for is the numbers on the side because it tells me which ones they are. Brush 101. M. Okay, there's a big one. I think there's another one. There's a really tiny one, I think. R3. Okay, I'll come across it. I'll show you. So nice range of colours available right up to the marker. Then you've got this, so more arty work, much more brush strokey, much more like you would with a brush. Then you've got these lovely solid pens and markers, and like I say, they're waterproof once dry. Really tiny one. Now this one, or maybe this one, let's have a look. This one, it's not been activated yet. So what you need to do with all the pens is depress and allow the ink to run down. Don't depress it too many times or very quickly, because what you're doing is you're going to ram the nib. So just depress and you will see the pigment coming through. I'm just giving it a good shake and just depress. It takes a little while at first, but once the paint is flowing freely, it's really easy from there. So there, that's filled that nib. It's such a tiny nib, it's really difficult to see, but now that's activated and it's ready to go. So that's a really nice, very fine, look how fine that is. So again, great for covering, great for those final touches. Mixed media on top of acrylic, on top of a watercolour. And here, there's another one, just get some of the pigment running. I depressed it a little too much there, and you can see the potential. Now that's a little scratchy, but what you can do is you can remove the nibs and you can clean them. So I'm getting a bit of tissue, and you can just remove the nib, and you can clean that with water, and then it will go back to its normal state, and you'll be able to just have a little just like a new pen, and off you go again. So being able to clean the nibs is really useful. The nibs can be changed. There are nibs available to change them if you've still got plenty of paint in your pen and the nibs maybe got damaged, because sometimes it does, depending on the surface you're working. If you're working on a rough surface, you are going to wear down the nib. So that's the pen. One thing I was thinking about, are they able to be moved with water? Now they're waterproof once dry, but there's no reason why, while you've got them still wet, you can't add water and you can create, see that's starting to dry now, so the more it dries, the less movability I've got. But while it's still wet, I can move with water, so I can create even more techniques. What I haven't shown you, really, is the opaque quality of the pen. It's not been activated yet. Let's try these two. So opaque means covering. So you can put a nice solid lime. What I'm going to do is just let that dry. And it dries quite quickly. It's not going to take ages. Again, it depends on the surface. Obviously, paper's very quick because you've got absorption, so it allows drying by absorption as well as evaporation. But on something like a plastic or a metal, you're going to need to maybe wait a little while, but I'm not talking hours, I'm talking a few minutes. You can see here another colour I've just activated, and I'm waiting for that to dry because I want to show you how opaque these colours are, how covering they are, how well they will cover the colour underneath. And that's right up to yellow. Yellow's usually a very light colour, and you know, it still has those covering powers. Look how well it can still cover the colour beneath. Obviously not quite as well as some of the darker colours, but still it's a yellow that can cover, and that's really nice. So I can visualise this in all types of painting. So that's, I hope you've seen the possibilities of these pen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little drawing because I want to show you how versatile these pens actually are. They can go on all types of surfaces, but all types of colour as well. So not only are you restricted to a white or a light surface, they will go on black, and that's where their opaqueness really shines through. I need another little piece of paper. I'll use the back of this, just so I know my brush has been activated. This is a brush pen, and what you need to do to activate is you don't depress the nib like we did on the pens. You need to just pump the paint through using a little pump at the top, and that gives you a really nice shape. So I like using, so use the brush, and you can see here, I need to just get some more colour out because it's not come through. It could be I need to shake. Oops. I noticed that happened when I tried it earlier. Got to make sure it clicks on. So shake to make sure the paint's coming through, and activate. So just using the brush to bring out some of these shapes. Now I'm noticing the brush isn't quite as opaque as the pens are, but I think it will work fairly well to give me a little bit of an idea. Again, I'm not worrying too much because I know I can work in, rework. So if I just cover, I can bring areas I want back out with the white. What I will show you, starting to cover now, is just need to activate, get some more colour coming through. Definitely with the brush you need to activate. The pens not so much. The pens have much more fluidity and keep moving, but I have noticed with the brush you do need to make sure it's flowing through, especially when you do it on a coloured piece of paper. Okay. Okay. Fill up. So you can do it as neat with the pens, or I'm just do it quite loosely because I've got the brush. I might as well use the marks that a brush will make and use them to their advantages. Okay. Again, you can see maybe with this colour, definitely I need to layer. But you try this with many other types of pen. They won't cover the black surface hardly at all. Okay. What I want to show you is how well the pens really do cover. So go to the green, make sure it's activated, and now you'll see what I mean by the pens covering. Look how well that will cover. Look at that covering power, the opaqueness of this pen. Scratch it down, go over. So you can see how you can use it on so many different mediums. Let's put green on there. What I want to do is see if I can move this. By putting water onto it, I'm going to obviously dilute it and it will lose some of its opacity. But I'm not overly bothered with that because I quite like the colour of the black coming underneath. And I know once it's dry, I can cover it again. I just want to see how well this moves on the black paper. Now this is quite a small nib. I probably should have been better with a nice big bullet tip or a marker. It's often nicer to use a bigger nib, but you can see I think that's quite effective there. And I'll add another colour in a minute. Okay. So it needs to dry before I can add the next colour, but I'm just trying to show you all the possibilities of the pens. Let's see, going on to my next colour. I think it'll be the red and the yellow. So let's just bring out some of these points. Again, like I would do in a painting, I'm layering. So I think I'll put the yellow on, and then it's going to allow other areas to dry, and we'll have a short break, and then I'll come back and we'll start to finish and put the detail on. B. So I'm just filling up the space, and I'll rework that. Get the shape, bit of colour, which I know I can add the colour on top of. I'm not overly bothered if I made a mistake or there's an area which is not the right colour, because I just know I can cover it. Okay, so I think what we'll do there is we'll have a short break and we'll come back and I'll start to add more colours on, and you'll see then how it can be built up. But what I really love is the way you can use the pens on the coloured paper or on the black paper. So join me in a minute.
Let us bring out the artist in you. If you'd like to learn how to paint or improve your painting, the SAA, Society for All Artists, is here to inform, encourage and inspire you every step of the way. When you become an SAA member, you get so many benefits, including the free bi-monthly newsletter Paint, packed with inspiring step-by-step projects, fascinating articles, and detailed information to get your creative juices flowing. Discounts on over 13,000 art products featured on the SAA website and in the Home Shop catalogue, with free order line and free delivery in the UK mainland. A devoted SAA team on hand to answer your questions and give you the confidence and motivation you need to start painting and develop at a pace that suits you. Plus, a free welcome pack filled with gifts and practical help to get you started, as well as the opportunity to make friends with like-minded people.
Best thing about that member is the inspiration from the magazines, to be able to purchase things at a very reasonable price.
Yeah, you get the reduction on all the materials, the advice you get.
I can shop from home.
It's a community.
It seemed like a very friendly sort of organisation.
If somebody's thinking of joining, don't spend too long thinking. Just join. They'll love it.
And we're back.
Hello and welcome back. So now I want to continue using the POSCA pens and just now start to build up detail. So I'm using them in a very painterly way, but you may choose to use them very precisely and much more like a illustration or for decorating or there's just so many different ways. This is the way I'm just choosing to use them this way. Okay, so now I want to go back and I want to just pick out the tips, the red tips of the flower. Again, I think I'm using too small a nib. I'm not sure I've got a bigger one. Let me check. Nope, same size. Let's put opaque so I can just use it in conjunction with other mediums. So perfectly suitable for covering an acrylic, just a little bit on watercolour or any mixed media that you use, whether it's porous or non-porous. Again, I like to work fairly loosely, but if I had more time I obviously could work a little bit more controlled, but it's all dependent on what time you have and where you are. So I'm just noticing the shapes that these make. They're all the shape that they make, and to be honest I might not do them all. I can see here that the red kind of makes a little circle. So I'm just going to make sure I'm bringing out those kind of key features. What I will do is bring out key features. And like I say, if you have more time, you can work into this. I've got another 20 minutes and I'm not sure I will be able to bring everything through in that time, because I could keep working, but I'm not going to. I'm going to stop. I'm going to mix it up a bit. I'm going to add another colour just to bring some of the dark areas where the bottom of the flower is. So it has a really nice, like I say, 32 colours, a nice range of colours. Not as mixable, as easily mixable as other mediums, unless you get it while it's still quite wet, and then you can have a degree of mixability. But because it can be used with mixed media, it doesn't matter. You can do all the mixing with another media that works the same. Okay, that's that. See if I can now go back with the pen and covering a little bit more. I had a look earlier and I saw that this was actually quite opaque. I was quite pleased with it in the end. Okay. You go there, because I'll bring out some colours. Work on the stem. I know I have another green somewhere. Never mind, I'll find it in a minute. Oh, it's this one, the one I had a minute ago. So let's just add some. Normally I hold everything in my hands and I get it all over the place. I have lots of things in my hand. So I've just put it down, and therefore I can now work a little easier instead of making things difficult for myself. Okay. I'll bring up, show the leaf is curled round there, and add. I like the kind of watercolory effect, the moved with water, but I'm also just using a pen effect, scratching in, making it feel, you know, a little bit more texture. Okay. So I'm going to go in with the white, which is a lovely, very opaque colour. I want to just going to keep this quite free, so going to very loose marks, bringing out some of the lines of the petals. So I've got lines down the middle and they fold over at the edge. Because it's one thing that's difficult is I can't move the page around. I normally move the page around, but it's stuck down, so.
Sorry.
So Gary knows where to film and where I'm going. Well, try to know where I'm going next. I think that's quite effective. And now you can see how white this opaque is and why I use it a lot for just adding those highlights. There we go. So these POSCA pens offer great opportunities. I want to put some red in, I want to darken here. Bring that red into, so it's not kind of isolated. But I can go back into it and I can cover and rework because of the pen. The last thing I'll do is I'll just do a quick bee and I'll have silver wings. I know what bothered me earlier. There's a little leaf here where the stem goes there and there's a little leaf there. It seemed like a very empty area. So let's see if I can use my water brush. I think that's very effective. And while I'm at it, let's see if I can mix at the same time. Bring out some of the less scribbly, they'll just now start to make it a little more solid. Okay, I think that's working well. And maybe just, don't normally like to do this, is just add a bit of black because I'm going to be using it in a minute. I just want to just very gently just bring out a little bit of light and dark. And you'll see I'm not going round the whole area, not going round it again. I'm just using the black just to give a little bit more depth and definition. Okay. So B, let's put the head here and body. Let's use the yellow, and I do want it to mingle with the black. So while that's still wet, you can see how I can spread that around. What I will have done is contaminated the pen, but you can see how easy it is then to clean. So, and now let's go in with the black. I don't want to make him a totally black and yellow, but I do want to just show you how these pens can work. Okay. And leg is here, but I think it's got quite a bit of pollen on it. So now I'm using the pen while it's still wet and just getting them to mix and mingle. It does work while it's wet, but once it's dried, you will start to lose some of the ability to do this. Just fill that in. And then for the really nice feature, it's going to be the silver. Might use a very fine pen on this one. Oh no, I've only got the brush, which is not a problem. I thought I had a fine. Okay, so the silver is activated. I don't know if you could, the thing is with the camera, I'm not sure you can actually see how shiny this is. But it's really shiny. What I'm going to do is, I don't know if you can see it, but this is really nice and shiny. And again, how I can use the opaqueness on here, so I can maybe just add a bit of silver into these kind of areas, just to add a little bit more fun. So now I can just start to think, how can I zhuzh it up a bit? What do I want to achieve from this? I want to just maybe add some detail to the bee. So some areas are more textured, other areas a little bit more controlled. Just want to make sure the bee is fitting on, there's no gaps. Maybe because the wings are at rest, you will see them. Okay. Like I say, I will keep working, I'll keep redoing areas, but I hope this has just given you a quick demonstration of the POSCA pens and their potential. You could do it on wood, do it on your shoes, do it on a guitar, just anything that you want to, add some colour to. A final varnish, if it's going outside or it's in an area that's got a lot of traffic or maybe touched, that offers great protection. But other than that, they're very stable pens. So I hope you enjoyed that demonstration. Join us next week for a really exciting live demonstration with the really wonderful artist Vic Beercroft, and he'll be doing a bunny in pastels, so that's exciting. So I hope to see you soon.